In the name of Allah, exalted is He, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the merciful, the most merciful. Peace be unto you, Assalamu alaikum. This is a very interesting YouTube dedicated to two people, to Honorable Jordan Peterson and also Brother Azhar from Birmingham, who wrote me asking me about the Hadith Roadmap and the finale collection I have. I have it in English and Arabic and two different versions, but the roadmap was in Arabic. So today I made a copy of it. The roadmap, the book I wrote, I mean. I'm the first one to write Hadith Roadmap. Many people wrote introduction, analyze, you name it, okay? For me, alhamdulillah, I'm considered one of the 500-pound gorilla in terms of Hadith productivity. I give you just example, and this is not from me as a creator. Allah created everything. He's blessed me to do that, to serve this. Between me and Bukhari is 17 people. It's the shortest chain of people on earth. This is a life chain. All of them did except me. The top scholar of Hadith like Albani, Umari, Habib Rahman Azumi of Azam, Jara, India, Pakistan, all these top 10, I'm one of them, and all dead, and the only one alive. And I'm 70 years old, alhamdulillah. But I have the power and the energy and the clear vision and thinking of like 35 years. If you want to try it, come on, and let's try. Alhamdulillah, I'm healthy, I don't suffer from anything. So now, this hadith, for example, I'm the first one to do 35,000 dictionary without repetition of words of Quran and Hadith. And I made a concordance of them. Each word had all the Quran and all Hadith, complete verses and Hadith together. I'm the first one to put 700 volumes of 3,000 authors roughly in Excel. Nobody put Hadith in Excel before me, and I put in small granular Hadith, the Matn, what the Prophet said alone, the reference, judgment of the authenticity, date coded of the author, and so forth. So I made the Hadith at our house. All of it free, by the way. I don't believe in Islamic knowledge to be sold. Nobody sold it before, and this is a continuation at what the Muslims suffering in the West. Every organization tries to tell you donate and collect money. Money should go to poor and orphan, not for you. You have strong hands, you should go to the market and do business, okay? They'll say, oh, so how are we going to do this? Well, check the Sahaba. they will working all of them. In the market, after sunrise, he prayed. Morning prayer, he prayed. Duha, and hit the market. Only Ahl Sufa, a group of people, 10, 20 people, give and take, are sitting in the masjid, and they will be considered the needy and the poor who will be subject to give donation. Not for you who's trying to set up a blog or set up an Islamic center and keep collecting money like hell. This is no good for you, trust me. So now we will go to our topic. Allah bless me to produce in English now, before in Arabic the 35,000. In Arabic, and this is available, I can give you links later, you can download. I wrote 13,000 words concordance, cross-reference in English. You can download it, it's 5 stars. And the roadmap, which I will explain to you some of it today, because I don't want to keep it very long. So let us just move on, okay? So the Hadith Roadmap, I'm going to upload it to our site, Allah.com, Muhammad.com. I have here maybe 2 recordings. One is I read for Jordan Peterson his spiritual rights and gave him the rules number 13. And also I started with one of the 500 gorilla scholar, which Peterson and anybody should be looking at, not look at the rabbits, you know. So I'm talking about Shafi'i, Razi, Ghazali, Ibn Hajar, and the like, okay? So if you go there, you will see nice few videos, but you will see also the Hadith Arabic collection. All of it is for the first time is done. Here is the Arabic Hadith 7,500 Hadiths, okay? And I have it in English too. If you go down under English, you will have some like this draft 1 and 2, you can download them. And if you can search for roadmap, I'm going to upload it here in the English and Arabic, because I have the Hadith roadmap that is in Arabic only. So I felt shy when brother Azhar asked me for say how I'm going to tell him I made it in Arabic. Alright? I'm serving Hadith for 40 years now, and Alhamdulillah I have all the family collection. For example, there is something called Divine Hadith. Okay? This is what Allah said, but not in the Quran. So if you go and search on the internet, you find 100, 200, and nobody knows the number. I know exactly it is 620, and I have them together. And this is not my work only. This is accumulated work of my teachers and the chains of scholars, okay? And you will understand that down the road. So let us now just go to the topic now. Starting the second slide, on the right side are the people Peterson or any serious person should be studying. All these small books took us nowhere. Everybody publishing book and trying to tell you what is Islam. Forget it. Go to the major 500-pound gorilla. Don't go to the rabbits, okay? I consider myself also a rabbit, okay? So Mr. Jordan, I really pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make him the president of the Muslims in the West. And maybe his VP to be Jeffrey, Dr. Jeffrey. So Allah will bless you to be a believer, but don't announce you are a Muslim till they accept as such that you are the president of them. And go green, I'm going to make a special video about the president in the Green House, okay? We are not competing with any political power, by the way. So let us go to this, closing the Hadith science map, roadmap, or finalizing the Hadith and giving it to you like with a spoon, okay? So, how I explain to you this? Let me give you maybe few things. The first thing is zikrullah. You have to make zikr of Allah a lot, and this is what Muhammad Hijab didn't tell you. Because if you don't do dhikrullah a lot, you become hypocrite by default. Because Allah described himself, munafiqeen, they kind of try to cheat Allah and they cheat themselves. They are lazy when they pray to Allah, prostrate and bow, and they show off to the people, look at me, and they remember Allah a little. So this is a big problem with the Muslim today. Everybody wasting his time WhatsApp and YouTube and Facebook, and they are not making zikr of Allah. Okay? Now I'm going to start with a joke. I like humor, okay? So the joke of the day, Google gave you joke of the day too, by the way. The Orientalists, the top Orientalists specialized in Hadith, prophetic saying, like Gold Zihar and Joseph Shah. They didn't know the preliminary classification of Hadith transmission. They know the weakest one or two, and that's it. So Fuad's skin really knocked them down because they created a lot of hate and doubt, ignorance, we call it scientific research. Alright? So I just mentioned that. I didn't benefit from Fuad's skin. Fuad's skin. I didn't have any of his work, but I know about this and I thought to let you know about it. So, how I explain to you in English, alright? How I explain to you in English, let me tell you this. Please sit, relax, comfortably, and hear this. We have 7,005 hadiths. Prophet Muhammad, 23 years, giving us Quran in 23 years, not in one day, and get lost. It's coming few at a time. So he's saying average 2-3 hadiths given day, mathematically average a day. And hadith is equivalent in size roughly to the Quran. So I have 6,230 verses of Quran and 7,500 hadiths. But nobody put them together before me, but I'll tell you why. So this 7,500 hadiths has a protection methodology never happened before. They were protecting in writing and in memorization. Why memorization? Because their slang language and their classic language are the same. For you now, if you go to movie and have subtitles, kind of higher English, then I tell you, can you tell me exactly? Say no, I can tell you in slang. What happened? But if the movie was in slang, you will come and read it in exactly the same. Why? Because it is your mommy language, mother tongue. So the Arab at that time, they are very eloquent, and also they have only one language, so they don't have two languages. So when they hear anything, they memorize it. Tough lacking, this is them. Plus they have strong memory too. Because they live in pure in the desert, they have kind of nothing to do. So the language and the time is very important. And they have these poems and this huge marketplace of literature. Then later you hear the 1,000 Night and Night, and you hear that the line has 1,000 names, and they have 1 million roots language, not like Webster 100,000 and so forth. So now this 7,500 are protected, hear me, by 70,000 persons. Imagine you have 7,000 princes and they have 70,000 bodyguards. You got that? You have 7,500 members of families, and you hired 70,000 bodyguards to protect them. So this is what happened in literature. And I have the 70,000 in one Excel, so I made it very easy for you. In alphabetical order, in any order, you search and you found, okay? You find anything you want. Let me give you an example. 9 books alone, they repeated the 7,500 in them alone 68,000 times. Now let us talk about this transmitter, the people who hear the Prophet and another people hear them and keep going. All this was recorded and memorized, so the hadith doesn't say Prophet said. They say so-and-so said, so-and-so said, so-and-so said, and we know every one of them, and he's honest, not a liar or have any bad character, okay? Otherwise we drop him. So you have, and the first generation, first 100 years, we have 4,200 amongst the Sahaba, which are total of 9,000, the Sahaba we came to know. The Prophet in the last khutbah, he gave khutbah for over 127,000, 24 to 27,000, but the ones we know are 9,408, and they were in reference 12,500, and I collected them, Hafiz ibn Hajar, I released them. So I do the Matthew finale work, okay? So this is 9,408, and their children, you can download this Excel too. Let us talk about one lady, Lady Aisha. Prophet married her young, and she loved her. Most of them realized later, because most of his family died in his time, and some was killed, like grandchildren, one poisoned and one killed, by the people who want life and fun. They don't want religious, spiritual, you know. So what happened? She reported 2,210 hadiths, but was repeated, hear me, 14,006 times. So she have logical 380 people carrying her chain of transmitters. These are the finale, like the final post office, okay? Verified. And 350 people and chains, and they are in books. Each 38.5 is the name of a book and name of a man. I have this in Excel too, the 14,600. I saw her in a vision say, will come Ahmad ibn Darwish. I said, okay, this is a nice reward, spiritual reward for me. So now, I saw also one of the companion telling Al-Khidr alayhi salam, the man who dialogued with Moses, telling him Ahmad ibn Darwish revived science of hadith. So it's lovely spiritual award, okay? So the blue here is an advertisement, not my work. This is about Fuad's scheme. He show a lot of mistakes of broken man, and that Shacht and Golzi and all these people screwed up, so just write their work off. I mean, you want it from the source or somebody having a bad intention, or at best he's ignorant. I mean, we don't take knowledge from ignorant people, right? So after that, the ends of the ads here, start my work. This is, I call it the finale of the statement of the Prophet. I'm going to translate in 109 language. I have designed already architecting a program because I'm a technology architect. This is the way I make a living. I don't take money for Islam because this is not the right way. People can go learn a language like Perl or Python and make 50,000 a year. A lot of Indian kids learning it under trees, and they go to America with special visa, and now they control Microsoft and Oracle, okay? So, now this is example, that I have, for example, the finale of Hadith, defined Hadith collection. I have the finale of the Prophet ﷺ. I have was my senior elder brother who passed away, who was one of the top 10 scholars of Hadith, Sheikh Khalid of Tangier. My original Sheikh Abdullah ibn Siddiq al-Ghumari, has 1,000 scholars. One of them was the head, the Mufti of Brunei. The other one was the head of the Bosnia community, Yugoslavia community outside Greater Chicago. Very good gentleman. He wrote a beautiful book in English. So he has 1,000, he wrote over 100 books. I released them for free, and also he has 1,000 scholars. And I was the lucky one to do everything, all right? So the finalization about it, I want you to understand how things work. Alright? So if you tell me, I want the Hadith of Prophet, one click, I give you 7,500. You tell me, I want to know the whole enchilada, the whole story from beginning to the end. I tell you, it is like this. Hadith before me was like a tunnel, dark tunnel. Allah lit it for me. I know everything. If you have a hay, big hay mountain, and there is one meter of hadith on it, I know how to pull it and give it to you. Because I'm very clever on that. I have my own innovation skills. For example, I take a book like the History of Damascus, which is hadith by Hafiz called Asqalani. This is one of the last people who wrote down the hadith. After them, there is nobody wrote hadith. This finale is finished. They call it Tadween, writing from verbal to writing. This man has a 75 to 100 volumes book. Nobody touched it more than just publishing it in Lebanon, which is the Mecca of publishing books. And he even published a book which is in America. Before it is published, you kind of steal the cover, the galley camera, and print it in Lebanon too. Shame that they destroy Lebanon now, and shame that anybody make anything immoral. So anyhow, so I took this book. I found it's 2 million lines. So I turned it into one line. It's like from New York to Los Angeles or something. Huge one line. I do this in Unix because Word, Microsoft will not handle that. So I can see it as one line. And if doing anything, I correct it as one line. And one space between words. And a standardized statement like we have Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Alayhi Salatu Wasallam, different, and make standard one only. So now I have 2 million line of code. Then I break it on Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and turn it into 35,000. Bingo! So we have here the hadith of the Prophet amongst 2 million line of code, 35 with all this in another Excel, give it to one of my students in Cairo, say, now hold for me the statement of the Prophet only, not the whole life stories of different things, because he mentioned the hadith with history. I don't want the history, I want only the Prophet and the chain of transmitter and the authenticity ruling about the hadith. So it's a 35,000, he has only 500 called less than authentic, but not a lie. And this is something we'll discuss maybe later. So what it is, I go collect all the usual suspects, take all the books, put them all together. I made, as I told you, hadith at our house. I have all these Excels arranged by date of death, so I can tell who said it, who reported first. No need for the repeating. Okay, this reduces the knowledge because we don't want a lot of repetition. 7,500 are protected. Thank you very much. Time to pull them out and give it to the people who love the Prophet ﷺ and those who are interested to know who is he. Now, I give you another example. There is a man called Albani. Okay, he is from Albania. He used to work as watch repair. He repair watches. Okay, so he gathered 55,000 with repetition. I put all of them in Excel. His lover, people who loved him, reduced it minus 10,000. They lost 10,000. I have it all 55. But I collected everything also from books available now, and I have with repetition. I have 110,000 hadiths with repetition. Okay, so the 28,000, remember, 68,000. Now it is 110,000. So the repetition is like kind of fun and luxury, but the root of it is 7,500. And in topic, the 110 and the 55 of Albani, they are alphabetical, and alphabetical really, they are good for only searching. Okay. The 9 books, one of them called Musnad Ahmad, which is 28,000, arranged by every collection, said by every companion, which is fantastic. So a man called Sindhi, great scholar of Sindh, which is a river in India, Sindhi of that area, he provision of Sindh, he is called Sindhi, and he explained it. I am the first one to release it word, and it's still available. Okay, and the Sahaba, as you can see, they are 9,061, the ones we know about, and their children is 347, and among these, less than 4,000 were reporting the hadith from the Prophet. This is the beginning of protecting the 7,500. So when you go to the companion, the repetition is less, of course. You have few people heard, and they are reporting it. So we don't have 68,000. The more you go farther and before 300 years, then we reach the 68,000. And this is a brilliant way of protection. Now I'm going to give you a story of one Sahaba to let you understand the spirit of that. Abdullah ibn Jabir, one honorable man, okay, very honorable among Sahaba, head of a tribe, and people loved him. Ladies want to marry him, halal, we don't have fornication. So, Abdurrahman, Jabir ibn Abdurrahman, there is hadith the Prophet said from the 7,500 about ransom, okay? I'm not going through the hadith now, I'm just giving you the spirit. So he heard one man in Medina, or Mecca, wherever he was there, then maybe in Medina, and he told him the Prophet said such and such. He said, who told you? He said, another Sahaba, he's in Damascus now. So now, when he heard it, his number, Prophet number, say number 1. The Sahaba in Damascus is number 2. The Sahabi in Medina is number 3. And Jabir now is number 4. Let us not count the Prophet, so we'll just say he is number 3 from the Prophet. The one in Damascus heard it, this man in Medina, and him number 3. He doesn't want to be number 3. because it's the spirit. You have to shorten the distance if you can. This is the reason I have 17 between me and Bukhari. If I can shorten it, I can, but I can't. This is the shortest one on earth. Okay? Okay? So now, and this is a life. It's not just somebody meet you, say your sign for me, give me a guess. No. This somebody living with somebody, studying with him. I studied with my sheikh. I read all Muwatta Malik in Morocco. He came to America twice. In Egypt, I'm with him all the time, in the United Arab Emirates. Okay, he gave a lecture and the royal court giving his chain up to the Prophet was one hadith. We were amazed, never heard this before, kind of like 35 people, he remembered them by heart between him and the Prophet. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So now back to Jabir ibn Abdullah here, if he didn't want that. So he said, I bought a camel, riding camel, the one who can cross the desert, not just ordinary one, called Rahela. Every 100 camel you find only one can do that. And he loaded it with what he wants, water, food, stuff like that. And he drove it 1 month till he reached that man, the other Sahaba, may Allah bless them all. And he said to him, I hear that you hear from the Prophet hadith about ransom, and I'm afraid I die before I hear it from you, or you die before I hear it from you. This is all what I came for, see? So here they now make him number 2. He heard a lot from the Prophet himself, but when he went on trade or he was out of town, some hadith he became number 2 or 3. So everything is number 3, he cannot be number 2 because the Prophet passed away. So anything he's number 3, he's updating his chain to be number 2 by traveling and getting this, putting, doing this the same way he did of this hadith of ransom. Now you understand how the chain, and a guy drive a month, leave all his life, his children, everything, and drive a month, get this and come back in a month. So it took him 2 months. And this is one way of protecting the 7,500 and the Sahaba doing the protection. They are not, Gold-Zihar doesn't, and Shah don't understand that, they never even know the story. And it's authentic, and it's mentioned in the top 9 books of hadith, which has very high authenticity, only 240. Among the 68,000, only 240 was put in error. Error means a guy writing and he wrote a wrong hadith. Okay? So, I'm giving you signs didn't exist to any prophet. I wish this happened to Moses and Jesus. You will never know anything. We will never have a problem now about who is Jesus, because Jesus and his 4 sisters and 4 brothers and sisters used to bow and prostrate on earth like Abraham and like Prophet Muhammad to Allah. And now the Jew, they are bowing in their prayers, stand up and bow like Muslims. But you guys don't know that. There's, I think, a YouTuber guy did that, showing how we pray in Judaism. So now, James, his brother of Jesus, peace be upon him, he carried on that. Then 60 years after that come anonymous. We don't believe in anonymous people. Look at Prophet Muhammad to protection, right? Anonymous guy, sign anonymous. You say, look, or like Mark said, who's Mark? Mark the disciple. How come you between him and you 60 years? And why you say he don't mention your name? And why you didn't show me the monkey? What is your chain? 60 years means you have between you and him 1 or 2. And the one, he's a liar, we will not count his statement. And we need fine details. We don't need a completely, one statement. So this is the Hadith Roadmap. I collected all the books of Hadith. I have them in order. I have them in Excel. I went and finalized everything. Okay? Put everything in order, and I made a dictionary, concordance for your own information. The people, PETERSON knows, of course. Concordance means glossary. You know, glossary at the end of the book. But for every word, mention complete sentence of where the word is mentioned, or paragraph or verse, not part of it. Part of it will be atraf, the beginning only. And atraf is no good. I mean, I want you to give me the whole verse. This atraf, they used to use it only to help each other. If you are collecting this hadith, I gave you atraf, don't collect it because I already collected them anyway. So, now there's something called Hafiz in Islam, scholar of Hadith. There's Hafiz of Quran, there's a lot of kids, millions of them everywhere, memorize Quran by heart. But Hadith, this is the top guy, top notch. So the Hafiz, he remembered by heart the 7,500. So if you get Hafiz anyone, Hafiz Nawawi, very famous, give him a paper and lock him in an exam, say, write everything you remember, he will give you the 7,500. Then you tell him what all this writing and shelves of books, he will count it as if when he born baby, writing a booklet every day. Allah gave him barakah and authorship. Allah gave me 2 barakah and authorship in English, and we have over 300 books and booklets. In Arabic, I have nearly 100. Some of this encyclopedic in nature, I mean thousands and thousands of pages. So the people who envy me, they say, oh, you are making catalogs. Heck, what's wrong with that? So anyhow, what I'm saying, the 7,500 is a given for anybody. Now, Mr. Peterson, Muslim in the West, Jama'at Tabligh, there is a group, he take only 2,000 called Riyadh al-Salihin. Everybody 20 years ago in America, they just take the 40 hadiths. If you make exam today, to all of the match people showing you, I'm Muslim, I'm this, I'm professor, I'm head of Islamic society, you make them hadiths memorized. Don't tell them, get me Bukhari translation. Even the translation is bad English. Like they have, most of them have bad English Quran. And I think I mentioned this before, like the word abd, abdul, ayn, ba'dan. This is the root of it. And Quran means worshipper. Allah created people to worship Him. So they translate it as slave of Allah. And they translate it as servant of Allah. Allah doesn't need servant, He doesn't need slave. They don't know the English. They don't know the Arabic. Okay, even Quran, they write it Q-U-R. Q-U has to have a vowel, the third letter, you know that. It should be K, Quran. And you say it's, he found it in Spanish, and I think from Turkish you have C or K, not Q. But they insist it has to be Quran, which is mistaken transliteration. I mean, in dictation, you give a kid, write Quran, baby, he will not write Q in the beginning, but they insist on that, otherwise you are not Maulana Azam and you are in trouble with them. And when the masses manage you, you are in trouble. Or the gang, if you are not Pakistani, then you are in trouble. And in Pakistan, we have to use Quran this way. No, Pakistan use Urdu. They don't use English. Okay? So anyhow, I'm just telling you some of the problem we face. So they have a lot, they hide under the table a lot of things. I've been in England several times. I lived 2-3 years there. Masjids, they fighting, every masjid almost fighting each other because they want to control the money. 2 groups fighting in English court, and the court appoint a guy with a high salary to representing the court. But they will not tell you that. They will bluff you. You are going to England, right? You will go there, you meet people filthy rich, house is full of decoration, and my name is Dr. Ahmed Darwish, I'm a medical doctor, I'm the head of the Islamic society. I'm a gang, you know, don't worry about it. You see? So what you want the guy twisted his knee sitting in the masjid praying like a nun or like a monk. You don't want people to show off big, filthy, rich house. Why don't spend this and teach your people and help the poor? No. So they are making show off like palaces of cards. So be careful of that. You tell them, I need a worshipper. I need a guy who prays all night and crying in the morning and tears. I need this guy to talk to. They will tell you, maybe we don't have one. You have to go to a mountain in Pakistan or maybe in Indonesia. Here we don't have that. What are you kidding? We're in showbiz here. Like Brother Hijab, he should be humble and crying that he start opening your heart. Not putting one foot on the other, say, oh, we have a chat with them, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't work, Brother Hijab. Say, astaghfirullah, qul rabbi Allah, thumma astaqim. Okay? You tell him about zikrullah. You tell him fast a day or two. Pray. Try to pray and see how it is. Here is Ghazali. Here is people more knowledgeable than me. Like here people recite Quran better than me. I hear you reading Quran and made a mistake. Okay? Min walad, and you said min waladan. I mean, okay, error. Yeah, I understand that. I mean, come on. Abdul Basit will not make an error, right? So you have to respect that people have a good credibility and good profile. I'm not hating you. I love you. I'm giving you good nasiha. But you are telling me in open, yes, because you are in open doing the mistakes. Okay? So what happened, I'm afraid that Peterson become a Muslim, then he become like nobody, like anybody else. No, you should, if you become a Muslim, hide that you are Muslim. You become a mu'min only and don't tell them. They want you to be Muslim with them, you become their president. Because they are senior in management. They are failing in management. I give you an example. Now Brother Hijab stand up like Tarzan, you know, macho man. China, you are enemy of Muslim and destroy his. So where is your management about that? You don't know management. Go take a course in management. Okay? If you said, okay, I'm sitting up now, don't buy Chinese thing for all Muslim in the West. If you are harassing our brothers there, plus we need evidence if you are doing it or not. I cannot judge it yet. We need to have evidence. So allow us, group of people, to go freely to travel and with video and take CNN and London, whatever, and investigate it on our own. Alright? And the people we describe with them, chat with them, if they say anything wrong, give us a right to take them back with us so you don't punish them. If you sign this agreement, you should be having open meeting with Muslims to plan pragmatic around the embassy of China in London. Not just sitting making beautiful video and this is bullshit, excuse my French, okay? So you get credit from it and the Muslim there got nothing and we don't have an agenda to do anything. Okay? And you are telling them what they know. But they know also we are empty, we don't have any management or any skills or anything. So here my Peterson Go Green video. You will understand what I mean. And I hope you will love it and work accordingly. So this is the Hadith Roadmap. Collected all hadiths, collected all references, organize all of them, get the finale. Everything you want, I have it for you. The building blocks of this sign, the breakdown, for example, what's hadith terminology? Let me give you a joke here. Sometimes the scholar will overdo it. Say the 8,000 hadiths, 68,000 hadiths. We use a statement to judge the hadith is sahih, authentic or less than authentic or false or whatever, okay? So in the terminology, the 68,000, which is the 7,005 hadiths with 500 without repetition, they are judged by 45 words, okay? Now the hadith terminology, they give you 150. What the heck is going on? They do what you call logical, like Latin, Greek logical build up. I assume this and this and that. Like say if we say sizes of men and women, small size, X size, that. They say, okay, let us have maybe more now. Let us have maybe 10,000 size. Make everyone per centimeter. If you are 1 centimeter, will be this. So this is like, it's abstract, doesn't exist. People buy small size, medium size, large, extra large, XX, so they want too much. But how you can tell? Ahmed will tell you because I know my numbers. Okay? So this is one area. So I mean, in the 30 minutes, I went 40 already. I cannot tell you everything. We can do follow-up, we can do whatever, but it's better to be live. You can say, let us set a meeting and discuss all this stuff. Okay? But in finale, I want to tell you that you need to hear Shafi'i. You want to hear Hafiz ibn Hajar, so you get a lot of knowledge. But more than that, you have to take the 7,000 under topics and go 7,500 and go home run with it. This is for you. From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give you 6,236 verse, and this is a hadith, this is all what you need. You don't need Ahmad Darwish, you don't need any rabbits. Then you go to the 500 Mount Gorilla people who teach you for Allah, not for money at all, not to show off, not to prove. Imam Shafi'i said, when I debate with somebody, I pray the truth come on his tongue, not mine. And I wish my books didn't have my name. This is the kind of people you want to get knowledge from. Okay? I love you all. I love you, Jordan, PETERSON, spiritually. Okay? And inshallah, Allah guide you like He guided Omar. Thank you very much, everybody. Brother Azhar, I wish this introduction was okay, and this is English, it's draft English, you can read it, and if you have, the link will be there in Allah.com. If you have any question, or if you want to correct it later, some areas we can fix it, please do. I did a lot of work, man. I mean, there is a guy called Suyuti, who's encyclopedic. He made 46,000 hadiths. Encyclopedia. So I took it and I put I have it electronic. Another guy did topic of it. I merged both Excel. You click here, we come by topic here in alphabetical. I put the ruling from all the hadiths I collected. I put the ruling judgment of every hadith. He has two collections. One is about 12,000 hadiths. 10% are false. We know everything. We know the liars. We have their names. Like say there is a guy called Amr ibn Subh, who are Wahhabi. You know, Ibn Taymiyyah people follow him in Aqidah. This guy, he's a liar, and he admitted he's a liar. He said about Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, Rububiyyah, all this stuff. So their Aqidah based on Trinity, you know, and they try to use Ibn Taymiyyah in the West as a way to cheat Muslim and say he can knock out or respond to Ghazali and Razi. He's a small rabbit, he doesn't know, he's confused, he's not pure Arab. His name having son, Ibn Taymiyyah, son of a woman. Arab don't call that, he doesn't understand Arabic. He was only a jurist and not top-notch one, and they lie. For example, say, Mawsu'at Shaykh al-Islam, Fatawi, Majmu' Fatawi. Something like, say, what, 40 volume? This 40 volume written by a guy, Saudi guy, 150 years, he and his son. So they put Ibn Taymiyyah on it and they call it his Fatawi. He collected few booklets, put it in it by Ibn Taymiyyah. Then he called it like that to look macho man. And I collected all the hadiths on it, is around 2,000. Okay, his proof is very little. 2,000 is nothing in the hadith business, so it's not Hafiz and hadith. What about the Sheikh of Islam? This is the internal title for fiqh of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So they took it and generalized it. Hafiz ibn Hajar said, when I say Sheikh al-Islam visible cleaning, not Ibn Taymiyyah. And he refuted Ibn Taymiyyah. So not just Ibn Taymiyyah, I know for a fact that Orientalists, Middle East study, they use him and bump him to mislead the Muslim. If they start wasting their time with Ibn Taymiyyah, you know, they will get screwed. So when somebody talk about Ibn Taymiyyah, just walk away. Okay? Walk away, man. Otherwise you'll fall in the trap. I'm not saying he's kafir or anything, but the people who produce our example, people came from Medina and which is the vice king, and try to get rid of them. Because they went to Syria and killed 350,000, you know? Muslim killing Muslim, you know? So these guys are gang for money, okay? So understand that before. Then they join, unfortunately, with some brotherhood, and they start screwing up. And this is the reason the Egyptian government, I'm not saying I agree or not, they hit them hard. Because instead of doing da'wah and doing good deeds, which they used to, the Ikhwan, the Muslim Brotherhood, they start going political only and They admitted between themselves were after the money and the fame and doing all kind of business. And now they said, let's admit and make an agreement with the government, because the government in Egypt now, they are making so much progress in infrastructure and road and business. I'm not saying they are perfect. The governor, the president himself said there's good and bad everywhere. He himself admit. So what I'm trying to say, this SIS, Muslim Brotherhood, Qaeda, all these guys are used by third party, whether it is CIA or some groups here or there, all of it because they left the carpet at night prayer and they want political and trying to play games, and they fail because they are not good in management. Look at say, Pakistan. The Prime Minister putting 40 million tree planting. Look at Afghanistan, where is the planting? Everything destroyed there. And there is another point very important. Afghani people are very good and the scholars are very good, but some of them, they don't know Arabic. And this is a problem where they can be tricked by, like, Bin Laden. Bin Laden is like civil engineer, businessman. He is not Muslim authority, but they call him Sheikh Bin Laden, you know. Maybe he did okay in the time of fighting with Russia, but I prefer not to fight anybody. Spreading Islam by tank better than by the sword. Okay? So anyhow, there is a lot of things has to be corrected, and people have to cool down on this trying to be macho men and so forth. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guidance for all of us. And thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.